Hello Werewolf Army, this is Jaden's Videos, and this is Nightmare House 2018, Hellish Awakening, Haunt Build Day 7. Yes, this is the 7th day of the Haunt Build, and boy do I have some stuff to show you guys today. So, really before I begin though, I just want to say something. This is the 7th year of the Haunt, and it is day 7. Pretty cool. Anyways, as you can see, there's a tarp covering the porch. Why is that, you may ask? I'm sure you... Sorry about that, my recording just stopped because my camera's been stopping my recording for no reason lately, but I thought my parents didn't want to do it yet, but then I walked out, and my dad was like, he was just, putting up the tarp, so I thought, okay. But anyways, I'm really happy that the diner's finally been started. So here's the wall for it, very long. Of course, that's obviously going to be blocked off too, and so is that right there. And there's obviously going to be a doorway here, so. And all these pumpkins and stuff aren't going to be here. They'll probably be moved down a little bit, because I'm still going to have my outdoor decorations, of course, on Halloween night. Of course I will, because the house is decorated for Halloween. But they're going to move down a little bit, because right here I'm going to have like some hell stuff for the entrance of the haunt. But anyways, first scene of the haunt, the diner. I love it so far. I haven't done much. There's still so much that needs to be done. There's a bunch of props that need to be put out, but I'm probably not going to put them out until this weekend. And the reason why is because they're being used for our indoor Halloween decorations, and I don't want to ruin our indoor Halloween display when there's still a week until Halloween. So I'll start to bring them out this weekend. But anyways, I've started it with some of the things that weren't being used for our indoor Halloween decorations, except for that was, but it's fine. It's just one thing. But anyways, I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of the diner real quick. So I'll show it with the light on first, and then I'll turn the lights off. So you got to turn the porch light on. Alright, so here you go. Here's a better view. There's the wall. Here is a better view at it so far. So much more needs to be done. There needs to be a scene setter on that wall, which I got a checkerboard scene setter because 50s diners, a lot of them had checkerboard patterns as the walls, and so I got that for it. So here's the diner table. I think I already showed you guys this. It is just a table with a thing put over it to make it look like a diner table. And I finally put it up. There's going to be another table with the same thing put over it right here, and so guests can't just walk into the haunt and just walk right to the next scene, which is going to be through here, and just walk past the scene like it's nothing. No, I want there to be a table here, so guests can't walk that way. They'll have to go all the way around, so they'll actually have to walk through the scene itself. I think that's a really unique idea of separating the scene in two parts that you have to walk through, because you get to walk in front of the counter and behind the counter. So it's just kind of cool. Just kind of liked that idea, and so I wanted to do it. So here's the counter. These bar stools, I think I showed you guys these the other day. The legs were way too long. They were too tall for this table. They were at the same height as the table, and it looked so weird. And so I brought them down. I sawed a little bit of the legs off, and now they're good. I only have one set up right now because the other one's going to go at the other table. But yeah, that's the bar stool, one of them. And if you guys don't know, well, for what I want for this scene, I want it to be, so the backstory of this scene itself, of course the backstory of the haunt itself is that hell is breaking loose and they're taking over Nightmare and stuff. But the backstory of this scene itself, because each scene also has its individual backstory. Even the hell ones that go in with the whole overall backstory, since it is a hell-themed haunt and the majority of the themes are hell, even the hell ones have their own backstories, even though they all go around the same type of backstory. But this one it's supposed to be a diner that when they were refurbishing the Town of Nightmare, because of course the Town of Nightmare is from the 1800s, 1950s, was obviously 100 years after Town of Nightmare, a little over 100 years after the Town of Nightmare was built. And so it was supposed to be that they were refurbishing the Town of Nightmare, and when it was refurbished, they built a 1950s diner because they refurbished it in the 1950s. And the diner stood and it operated normally, but since the town was still supernatural, they couldn't get rid of the supernatural entities that were in the town from the 1800s. Out of all the places in the town, the diner Just for some reason, that one diner. And I don't know how I'm going to expand on this. It might be built over like Jack's grave or something. I don't know yet. But the diner is supposed to have had time stopped. Time just stood still, like in the diner. Just everything stopped. Everything stood still. Everything froze. Except for outside the walls of the diner. So while people were looking in the diner normally, the inside of the diner just froze. And the skin of everyone in the diner fell off. And the diner just has been left that way, in that same state that it's been in since the 1950s, since October 31st of 1956. That's what it's supposed to be. So it is supposed to be October 31st, so Halloween of 1956. It has been left that way to rot. And the same skeletons that were in the diner and died that very night are still there. So, and it's not supposed to be a haunted diner. Like, most of my scenes that are just normal places that I turn into things are haunted, like Haunted Schoolhouse, Until Death Do Us Part was a haunted church, the Haunted Mansion. All of those things are haunted. The diner is not haunted at all. There's no ghosts whatsoever in the diner. It is actually the only place in Nightmare that does not have a supernatural entity inside of it, but instead, it's just got an eerie feeling of death. The diner is not haunted. There's no ghosts in it, like I said. The only thing in it is corpses that are inanimate. Most of the corpses that are in my haunt, like a lot of the skeletons in my haunt, are supposed to still be, like, have a soul inside of them, like Bone Collector and stuff. But as of this diner, all of the skeletons in it are just supposed to be dead. There's nothing, there's no life to them at all. They're just completely frozen in time. And I like it. I think it's awesome. And so the reason that there's supposed to be Halloween decorations up in the diner is because it happened on October 31st, and these are supposed to be the same exact Halloween decorations that were put up in the diner on October 31st, 1956, and they've been left there this whole time. And one of the creepiest parts about the scene is that I'm going to have a 50s soundtrack playing throughout the scene. And one of the creepiest parts about it is that it's supposed to be playing from a jukebox, which is going to be right here. The jukebox is going to be built and put right here. It's going to be playing from a jukebox, and it's supposed to be like that same soundtrack has been playing for nearly 100 years. Not nearly 100 years, but you know what I mean. Since the 1950s. It's been playing since the 1950s, so around 70 years. Over and over and over again. Ever since that night. And it's going to be eerie. It's going to be creepy. Just having that upbeat 50s music playing while you're just walking through just a wasteland of a diner. It's going to be really creepy, and it's going to be very eerie and just strange. It's going to be a very strange scene. There's not going to be any scare actors in it. For one, this is the first scene. I usually don't like scare actors in my first scene. I usually save that to the second one, because the first one's more of just a, oh, we're walking through, what's going to happen type of thing. Whereas the second one usually has scare actors, and going on, there's more scare actors. It gets scarier as it progresses. But anyways, so no scare actors, because it's just supposed to be dead. Just supposed to be no one inside of it since the 1950s. I think it's going to be awesome. So these lights are supposed to, the reason I have this ghost light I actually got at Target. It's great. It's a neon ghost light, and I had to get this for the diner because we all know, of course, neon lights were very popular in the 1950s and mainly in diners. And since this diner is supposed to be decorated for Halloween from the year 1956, and the Halloween decorations are supposed to have been there from that year, a ghost neon light is perfect. And you can have it on steady, but I want it to flicker, so it seems like it's been here since the 1950s, and, you know, there's just a power shortage on it. It makes it a lot creepier that way. But anyways, let me just, now that I've explained the backstory of this scene, let me just walk you through what I've done so far. So there's the diner table I already mentioned. There's some salt and pepper shakers right here, and I put this Halloween garland. And a lot of the decorations I have in this scene are like, they're not like modern Halloween decorations, of course. Of course, some of the props will be, well, they're all made in modern times, of course, but they're not meant to look modern. So they're supposed to be older looking props. That's why I have these Dollar Tree skeletons, which you're never going to see in a haunt unless it's a really bad haunt, because they're not scary. But in this case, they're fine to use in a haunt because it's supposed to be 1950s Halloween decorations, because they used to hang these types of skeletons up in diners for Halloween in the 1950s. These just hanging skeletons. I was actually asking my grandma if she ever remembers seeing these in the 1950s, and she said yes. And so I was like, okay, that works, let me buy them. But anyways, I'm also going to have a lot of vintage stuff. There's a lot of vintage props that I bought for this. A lot of vintage props. Like vintage looking props that look like they're from the 1950s that are going to be in here. So all of the props seen in here, all of the Halloween decorations, are old-fashioned looking Halloween decorations. So this tinsel works really well because they decorated with a lot of course nowadays we still decorate with a lot of orange and black, but nowadays we see more of, for Halloween garland, it's mainly just black. That's mainly what I see people use. I just thought this orange and black just looked a little more 1950s Halloween-like, so I have it there. And here's the Pose and Say skeleton, which is not finished yet. I'm going to turn him into a greaser. I'm going to put a leather jacket on him and some greaser hair, and he's going to look like a greaser who died in the diner. I really like how he leans on the table. That is intentional. It's not just like that to keep him propped up. He is leaning on it intentionally to show that there's no life in him, pretty much. I already mentioned this ghost light. It looks really cool in the window, because usually diners would have lights like this in their windows. And then you've got I've got these pumpkin lantern lights up here, because I thought these looked like 1950s type Halloween decorations you would see in a diner. So I got these, and then I already mentioned the skeletons. So that's all I've done in the diner right now, but I think it looks pretty cool. I'm going to turn the light off and let you look at it a little bit better with the light off. So I was originally going to plan on putting a short circuit bulb in there, but I don't know if I'm going to do that now, because actually I've got another light string to put in here and another neon light to put in that window, and that's all the lights that I have for this scene. But I don't want to do the short circuit light anymore, because I think with those lights and that ghost light, that is enough light for this scene. Because of course in haunts you want it to be dark, and it's already pretty actually bright in here. It's not bright, it's dark, but it's I think it's brighter than I thought it would be, actually, because this ghost light is super bright, even when it's flickering on and off. It is just super bright. And so I don't even think I need a short circuit bulb up there, because this acts good for the source of light. This was mainly just supposed to be a background prop, a background lighting thing. It wasn't actually supposed to be the main source of light for the theme, but it's just so bright that if I added a short circuit one, the scene would be way too bright, and so I think this works perfectly fine. And those pumpkin lights are there, and then I said there's also another neon one that's going to go there, and then there's going to be pumpkin lights on the counter. And so I think I'm good on that. And also that is not that is just temporary. This outlet thing, it's just temporary, so I could test out the lights tonight. It's definitely gonna be hidden during the haunt. I always hide my outlets during the haunt so guests can't see them. So yeah, but I think this looks really cool. It looks really creepy. Like I said, great lighting in here. The colors may not contrast, like the orange may not contrast with the white. I mean, it kind of does. It doesn't contrast with the white too well, but since it's just supposed to be an old 50s diner, I don't really think it matters. You don't really need great contrasting lights in here, but it does contrast the more I look at it. I think it looks pretty cool, because the majority of things in this scene are going to be white or orange and black, so that's pretty much my colors. So I think it'll work pretty well for this scene. So just gonna show you this one more time. I really like it. Looks really cool. Here, and let me turn the ghost on just steady, just so you can see what it looks like. Let me see what it looks like with just those on. Pretty cool, but I really love this ghost light, so I've got to have it on. So that's what it looks like just steady on. It's very bright. So in the haunt, I'm obviously gonna have to have it flicker. So there we go. And now I'll take you to the other things I did today, which that was the main thing I wanted to show. That's actually something that I just started like 30 minutes ago, and yet it's like the main thing I want to show because it's the coolest thing I did today. made this ticket booth. And no, this is not for Creepy Carnival Circus of Chaos. This is actually for Festival of the Fallen. This Festival of the Fallen is right here, and it's supposed to be a festival, if you don't know, that the demons are throwing in the middle of the town of Nightmare, and that is why they emerged from the pit of hell, to throw the Festival of Fallen in the town of Nightmare. It is where they torture people and have just a hellish festival in the middle of the town on Halloween night. That is the whole backstory. That is the backstory itself of the haunt this year. That is the reason that the demons are taking over every single part of the town. It is a part of their festival that they are holding, their hellish, satanic, unholy festival that they are holding in the town of Nightmare. That is why the demons are throughout the town, such as an unholy cathedral, the summoning, all of the different themes. That is why the demons are there. And this scene is going to be the most climactic one, because this is the center of it all, where the demons literally have all their hellish games of torturing people, all of that stuff just in this section right here. And so it's going to have the most demons in there and literally just the most climactic scene. And so I need a ticket booth because it is supposed to be a festival. So I made this ticket booth today. It's got some, I know there's not sides of it here, but I think that's fine, because when in the dark, when guests are walking up to it, you can't even really notice that there's not sides. I think it'll be fine. It still looks really cool. Not all ticket booths need sides like that, but here's the back so you can see the kind of the construction of it. It's very easy to make. I just used plywood and screwed it all together, and some beams, and pretty cool. It's not done yet. It's definitely not done yet. You can see it looks pretty plain. It's just spray painted black. And then if you noticed already, I don't know if you did, but if you noticed already, there's just some spray painted flames at the bottom, just as a, those aren't supposed to look like real flames. They're just supposed to actually look like they were painted on there for the festival. But it's going to say Festival of the Fallen at the top, and then admission price is going to be right here. It's going to say admission price 1 soul. I actually got that idea from Pinterest. So I thought that's a really cool thing, because of course selling your soul to the devil. So the admission price to get into the demonic festival is to sell your soul to Satan. So I really like that. I think it's pretty cool. And I was originally just going to have a prop back here, like a skeleton selling the tickets, but I don't think that's hellish enough. And so I want to just have an actor dressed as a demon just sitting back here, just scaring people from the ticket booth. I think that would be pretty cool, because it's the first thing you see when you walk into the Festival of the Fallen. Festival of the Fallen is there, and then the ticket booth is just right here, right in your face, right when you walk in. I think it should be pretty cool, and I can't wait to finish the ticket booth. I can't wait to get those writing on it, and my mom will probably paint a devil face on it too, so that would look pretty cool. Let's see here. These porch steps have been fixed, in case you didn't notice. Well, they're almost fixed. They need to be screwed in. But in case you didn't notice, these porch steps were completely ruined. And so they were fixed, so now guests can safely walk down the porch. I spray painted this doll that I showed you guys that I got. I spray painted it, and I actually got this idea from Hauntformer. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but for his haunt theme, which he's doing an alien theme, of course, he was doing like green alien blood, and he sprayed the spray paint inside the top of the can, and then just threw the top of the can on top of, he just splashed it on top of whatever he was painting, and it made a splatter effect. I never thought of this before, but since I'm doing so much blood in my haunt this year, since it's a hell theme, I think blood works really well for that, since it's just a very sinful thing to murder. And of course there's always blood in the haunt, but this is just an overload this year. But anyways, I just did that splatter effect, and it looks so much cooler than how I used to do blood, which is like this. It looks so much cooler to do the splatter effect, so I highly recommend you guys do that. I also did it on the patient here, which I showed you guys that I spray painted yesterday, but I did the splatter effect today. The splatter, not effect, the splatter technique today. I also did it on the victim chair a little bit, which is right there. I thought I lost it for a second because this mirror is blocking it. Did it on the victim chair. I was originally not going to paint this sign. I was just going to leave it how it was and then just put battery-operated carnival lights around it. But I wanted to paint it since it is for Creepy Carnival Circus of Chaos. I know you can't really tell what it says. It was kind of a fail, but I guess it's good enough if you know what it says. It says Penny, because of course Penny is supposed to be in Creepy Carnival Circus of Chaos. She is one of the performances in the carnival, and if you haven't seen Nightmare House Lore the Movie 3, that covers a lot of the lore that's in the haunt this year. So, that is why Dr. Voodoo is in it and everything, because he's a demon, and this year's about demons, and so that whole movie actually covers the lore for this year. Well, not all of it. It doesn't go into detail about the Festival of the Fallen. All it really does is scratches the surface of how the demons got raised from hell. It doesn't go into detail about the Festival of the Fallen itself. That is left for the haunt to tell that story. The story of how the demons got out of hell is told in Nightmare House Lore the Movie 3, and the story of what they're doing out of hell is told in the haunt itself. So I like that. It's how the movie carries on into the haunt. Because, of course, those movies are about the haunt, and my haunt is pretty much, my movies revolve around my haunt. All my movies pretty much do, because the Town of Nightmare is a big thing involved with all of my characters, even the ones who aren't involved in the Town of Nightmare. Like, even the dentist is supposed to have visited Nightmare. And so, you know, all my characters have a lot of references in the haunt. But anyways, especially Penny, because she was actually involved in the Town of Nightmare. So I have Penny written on here like she wrote it in blood. And then I did the blood splatter effect on this, and it looks cooler than the other things I did on. This looks awesome. This is the coolest blood splatter I've done, and I just started doing this technique today, and this is my favorite one I've done. It just looks super cool in the mirror. I don't know why, it just looks better on that than the rest. I also did it on this guy a little bit, the torso that is being tortured that I showed you guys a few days ago. I did some on him, which you can't really tell since he already had spray paint, but you can see it a little bit. This saw my mom made, the saw that's going to be cutting him in half. It's not done yet, but she drew it and then she cut it out. I'm still going to spray, even though it is already gray, there's a bunch of stains and stuff on it. And so I'm going to spray paint it gray over that just to cover the stains and stuff, and then I'm going to put blood on it. So it's not done yet, and then eventually it's going to be attached to the table, so it will look like a real saw when it's done. Right now it doesn't, but when I get to painting it with a metallic paint, it'll look more like a real saw, because that metallic paint actually looks like things are metallic when you use it. This wall was put up, which I'm really happy about. This big wall right here separates butcher shop, and then it goes all the way down here. All the way. This is the Dark Harvest now. It goes right through the middle of the Dark Harvest, so guests have to walk pretty deep back into this wooded type area, and then go back here. So, a lot of stuff was done today, and a lot of very important stuff too, especially the Festival of the Fallen ticket booth being started, and really almost being finished. Literally, all I have to do is add the words on it, and I'll do that tomorrow, and it will probably take like 10 to 15 minutes to paint the words on it and stuff. So it is almost finished. Almost. I also added this, I forgot about this. I added creepy cloth to these banisters. If you remember last year, this was the boathouse, because I had a pirate theme last year. Of course, this year, since it's a hell theme, this area is Festival of the Fallen, and instead of, last year I had green creepy cloth to make it look kind of like a net, a fisherman net, or seaweed, or it just had a cool piratey type effect. And this year it's black, to create the effect of just the demons decorating the area for the Festival of Fallen using like black garland and stuff, which I really like. Anyways, that is everything that was done today. A lot of stuff was done today. I also got some new supplies, but most of those new supplies that I got went into making the ticket booth, and then the others are just spray paint and stuff, and some more PVC pipes, which I don't need to show you guys, because you'll just see the results of what they're made into eventually. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this Nightmare House 2018 Hellish Awakening haunt build video, and I hope you guys like the diner as much as I do, because I am in love with the diner. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Keep howling at the moon, my werewolves.
Hey, come back. You don't play fair, and you're making me angry. But maybe if you subscribe to Jaden's videos and join the werewolf army, I'll let you live another day, but it's not guaranteed.